Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. Today I'm actually going to be going for the top, just not the top 20, but the best 20 opening day of the fixture season in the Premier League era. Now I haven't narrowed it down in order, so this is in no particular order because I found it really difficult to number them like 120 to 1 basically. I found that a bit too difficult really and a bit too unfair because so many different games, and I've based some games on pure entertainment, so the pure quality and entertainment of a thriller. Other games on moments, so I mean they might not be as high scoring, but the moments in the game are quite significant for the rest of the season. Or it's generally a brilliant opening day story for a club who's might be their first ever game in the Premier League. So a variety of games really. So this is, in my opinion, the 20 best, and I'm going to go in order. So from the very first Premier League season working upwards to the current season to make it, to give a fair, a good shout other than a massive mix. So first up, I've got Crystal Palace 3, Blackburn Rovers 3, 1992-1993. Now this was the first, I'll say, major classic in the Premier League era. This is the opening day of the season, and Blackburn Rovers had Alan Shearer. They were managed by Kenny Dalglish. 2 years after this, Blackburn Rovers went on to win the Premier League, but at this point they were newly promoted and had quite a bit of money invested to them. The match was very entertaining. Alan Shearer scored a brace in this game. Gareth Southgate even bagged himself a goal, I believe, for Palace. It was quite a very entertaining opening day game. It was a bit of a thriller, actually, a 3-3 draw. And yeah, it was a good game to watch. This was more on the entertainment side of the games I was talking about. Entertaining from pretty much start to finish. Next up, you got Arsenal 2, Norwich City 4 in the 1992-1993 season again. Now, Arsenal were 2-0 up in this game at half-time, but Norwich City came back to win 4-2 in what was a thriller, really, of course. Arsenal maybe weren't as good at this point as they were just a few years later, but still, this was still the very good Arsenal defence that we came to see, and letting 4 goals against what was a very good Norwich City side, don't get me wrong. This was not the Norwich City of today necessarily. This was a top Norwich City team who even competed for the title in this season, but still, it was a very entertaining game and a great comeback from Norwich to be 2-0 down at Highbury to get a 4-2 victory. Next up, you've got Sheffield Wednesday 3, Tottenham Hotspur 4 in 1994-1995. Again, this game was purely on the entertainment side. It was a thriller at Hillsborough today, a 7-goal thriller. Yeah, just purely this game, entertainment from start to finish, really. One of the opening day games you really love to watch. Yeah, and next up, we've got Southampton versus Nottingham Forest. Southampton 3, Nottingham Forest 4, that is 1995-1996. Again, pure entertainment. Matt Letizia, I believe, scored a hat-trick in this game as well. But Nottingham Forest had enough in the end to win. It was an away win as well for Forest. Again, just entertainment, really. A lot of these games so far have been based on entertainment. But yeah, this was a very good opening day game. 4-3 Forest. Brilliant. Next up, you got Aston Villa 3, Manchester United 1, 1995-1996. Now, this game is more of a moment, I'd personally say, because Man United, who weren't the current champions were Blackburn Rovers. But Manchester United, this was the year that, of course, Alan Hansen famously said you don't win anything with kids. And that's what, on the opening day, that was looking to maybe prove that Aston Villa won this game 3-1 very convincingly. And, of course, what happened after this is the main reason I might put it in this list, the fact they lost 3-1. United still went on to win the title with the kids despite all that. So United really invested in youth at this point of them. And, of course, it worked a treat for them in the future as we got a golden generation of Manchester United talent. But yeah, this was a good game. Aston Villa played excellently. And yeah, it was a good game to watch, but it's more the aftermath of this why I put it in the list, really. But still, great result for Villa on the opening day. Next up, you've got Derby County 3, Leeds United 3 in 1996-1997. Now, this wasn't as bad as Derby County's run in 2007-8, but this was a decent game, 96-97. Again, entertainment, 3-3 draws, 6 goals, always pretty much guaranteed entertainment. And when there's an opening day game of entertainment, it's always good. It always gets back into the swing of football. You've waited long for it to come back. And that's why a lot of the games, when the thrillers on the opening day, really do push you up, get you up for the rest of the season, really, because you get that football love and feeling back. Next up, you've got Coventry City 3, Chelsea 2 in 1997-1998. Of course, if you said this scoreline now, you'd think someone is crazy. Coventry City to be beating Chelsea 3-2. Sounds pretty unheard of, but it did happen this isn't the Chelsea we know today, or the Coventry we know today, but still, 97-98, a great result for Coventry City, had enough to win 3-2. And yeah, just a general, quite an entertaining game, really. A great result for Coventry, who I believe endured a good season, might have been the season after this, but yes, it was still a good result. But yeah, for Coventry, yeah, a good game as well. Entertaining, as again, a lot of these games in this list are. Next up, you've got Watford 2, Wimbledon 3, 1999-2000. Now, this was Watford's first ever Premier League game, I believe, after getting promoted against Bolton in the playoffs in 1999. They came to the Premier League, but were unfortunately undone by Wimbledon, but made a very good game of it. Yeah, Watford were the home side here, but did unfortunately fall a 3-2 victim. But it was a good game, and it really did kind of make us feel like Watford could be there to give a good fight in the Premier League. They unfortunately were relegated, though, I believe, in their first season in the league at that point, but still, they give it a good fight on the opening day. It was quite an entertaining game. Next up, you've got Charlton Athletic 2, Chelsea 3 in 2002-2003. The year before the Roman Abramovich era had begun, but this was a big game for Chelsea, really. This is the year Chelsea actually finished in the top 4 as well, so it was a big moment for Chelsea this season. And the opening day was really a sign. They were 2-0 down to Charlton, but came back to win 3-2. It was a very entertaining opening day game. Chelsea have got a good record in opening day games since the 2000s begun, and this was another good example here, to be 2-0 down and beat what was a good Charlton side at the time, 3-2. Was brilliant, entertaining from start, entertaining game, and a great comeback, which really did set you in an opening day mood as well. Next up, you've got Reading 3, Middlesbrough 2 in 2006-2007. Now, this was a thriller because this was Reading's first ever Premier League run, and they were 2-0 down in this game to Middlesbrough. And at this point, you're kind of thinking, oh, Reading really cut out for the Premier League. Well, the answer was well and truly yes, as they came back to win 3-2 in what was a thriller. Reading going on to have a really good season as well this season and more than comfortably stayed up in mid-table. But yeah, this was a brilliant opening day game which really set the tone for Reading's season. To be 2-0 down and to come back and win 3-2 really showed the heart this Reading team had this season. Next up, you've got 2008-9, Hull City 2, Fulham 1. Speaking of teams with their first big win in the league, Hull City were another example of this. Hull City trailed 1-0 against Fulham. However, they came back to win the game 2-1. It was a good game. I mean, Hull City to get this win. Hull City started this season absolutely terrifically as well. But yeah, this was a great start for them. And you could just see what it meant to the Hull City fans when they won this match. Hull City, who were to come up to the Premier League was such a big deal at the time. Hull City were never really known for the football side of things, so for them to come up was massive, and to win their opening game was also. And Hull did have bigger wins than this to come, but still, to get this win on the opening day was massive for them and the morale boost. But it was great to watch, really, as a neutral, to see Hull City get this win and get the season kick-started. Next up, you've got Everton 2, Blackburn Rovers 3 in 2008-9. This game wasn't really of any significance. It's kind of a mid-table clash, but it was a very entertaining opening day game, actually. It kind of had a lot of twists and turns. You never really knew which way this game was going to really go. It was quite a damn good game, actually. And Blackburn got a good away win at Goodison Park, which, at the time, Goodison Park was a very tough place to go, so it was a good result, but yeah, they had enough in the end, Blackburn. It was a good game, though. I've more definitely put this in for the entertainment side of it. It was a 3 o'clock kickoff, so I didn't watch it live, but it was still, I remember watching it after a very good game. Next up, you've got Everton 1, Arsenal 6. Now, this was an absolute hiding. It's the first proper hiding I've really put in this list, but the reason I put it in this list is because I remember watching this game. It was on the first Saturday of the season, a 5:30 kickoff. Arsenal absolutely just dismantled. Everton did have their injury worries, but that was no excuse on this day. For to see Arsenal take apart Everton like this was actually quite frightening. It was just a crazy game to watch, and you really felt like it was just utter humiliation for Everton. They did recover from this, Everton, actually, and went on to have an okay-ish season, a comfortable mid-table finish, but this was just brilliant. Not to say brilliant, not if you're an Everton fan, but it was just weird to watch Arsenal absolutely take Everton apart. And it was a real opening day statement from Arsenal as well. But Arsenal didn't go on to win the league here, but still it was just a brilliant game to watch in the fact that you just see someone get absolutely destroyed. It really was quite something, and, it couldn't really believe it. A lot of people expected a close game. That's not, unfortunately, what we got. Next up, we got Wigan Athletic 0, Blackpool 4. Now, speaking of sides getting hammered, this game was, because Blackpool to get to the Premier League was absolutely massive after they won the playoffs against Cardiff in 2010. No one really thought they'd cope in the Premier League. Holloway played a very open style of football. which for times in the Premier League with Blackpool really worked. At other times, though, it did leave them too open. It probably was the main reason they got relegated. But he certainly gave it a good go with Blackpool. And my word, their opening day game, 4-0 against Wigan, was a joy to watch, really, because no one really expected them to cope in the Premier League, Blackpool, again. But this opening day 4-0 win away at Wigan because really proved a lot. And they actually went and got beat 6-0 by Arsenal the game after. But to win 4-0 away on the opening day it just really took fans by surprise. No one really saw it coming. It was just great to watch. Like, it was Blackpool winning away, being in the Premier League was big, but to win 4-0 away was absolutely great. But yeah, I mean, this game was actually originally meant to be at Blackpool, but it couldn't for some reason. I can't remember what the reason was. And yeah, they went and turned them over 4-0. Brilliant. It was great. It was just so entertaining and a breath of fresh air as well, which Blackpool generally were in the Premier League. Next, we've got Liverpool 1, Arsenal 1 in 2010-2011. Now, I'd mainly put this game down to pure entertainment in a lot of ways. Like, there was 2 red cards, one for Joe Cole and one for Laurent Koscielny, both players making their debuts, and they were both sent off, which was crazy in itself. The game was just crazy. So the first half wasn't that entertaining, admittedly. It was kind of a standard game. Joe Cole gets sent off right on half-time, and then all of a sudden, Koscielny, who got stretchered off, comes back out for the second half. And then David Ngog, of all people, bangs in a very good goal into the top corner. This first few minutes of the second half. And then Arsenal equalise because Pepe Reina thumbles the ball into his own net. It was a howler from Reina, which allowed Arsenal to equalise. And then Koscielny then gets sent off as well. It was a mad game to watch, and it was end-to-end stuff, and it was enthralling. It did unfortunately come in the very disappointing Roy Hodgson era for Liverpool fans, but this was certainly a memorable opening day game. This really was, despite only being a 1-1, a very good watch. So I'd definitely recommend checking this game out if you haven't. Next up, you've got West Brom 3, Liverpool 0, 2012-13. Now, this was a new era for another Liverpool manager, this time Brendan Rodgers. Now, the reason I ranked this game in there was because it was quite a shock in the sense that Liverpool came into this season, they came into this game and they played some very good football for about 40 minutes. Liverpool were all over West Brom but couldn't finish the ball, which kept the score at 0. Then Zoltan Gera came up with an absolutely brilliant goal. And then Liverpool just absolutely fell apart the rest of the game. West Brom could have won this game about 6-0 if they took their chances. It was really a game that introduced Romelu Lukaku to the English game as well, as he was on loan at West Brom and had an absolutely brilliant game. But it was just crazy to see really Liverpool getting taken apart so much. And it was also a new start for West Brom. I believe Steve Clarke was in charge at this point, but it was just crazy to watch. Like, I remember watching this and like thinking, wow. I mean, this game was a 3-0 kickoff, and I remember checking the score and just thinking, just crazy to think 3-0. Liverpool had so many chances in this game as well. But yeah, 3-0, and it could have been more for Albion. This is what made it so fascinating. The fact Liverpool got hammered by a West Brom team, who were a mid-table team at best, really. So yeah, that certainly made it interesting, and really looked at the flaws of Liverpool as well. Defensively, they were all over the place in this game as well. Next up, you've got Leicester City 4, Sunderland 2 in 2015-16. If there was ever a game that is put in here for what went on for the rest of the season, it is this one. This game set the tone for that historic Leicester City Premier League win in 2015-16, and they continued the momentum they left with in the previous season with a 4-2 win. Sunderland with Leicester were 4-0 up in this game. For Sunderland pulled 2 late consolation goals back, which didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But this really set the tone for the season for Leicester, and that's why it is in here. They were absolutely brilliant. And it pretty much went on to define Leicester's season, this sort of football. Great to watch, and Leicester were excellent. And yeah, that's the reason I put it in here, because it had such a big impact on the rest of the season. But yeah, Leicester were excellent, and it was a good game as well. It was definitely the best game of the weekend on the opening day. So yeah, you got to really put it in there for that reason as well. But fair play to Leicester. This was a good game, and of course the story, the rest is history in that sense. Next up, we got Arsenal 3, Liverpool 4 in 2016-2017. Now, this was dramatic. This was another thriller between these two, and it actually went on to beat their game from 6 years earlier. Yeah, absolutely crazy game. First off was Arsenal's. Theo Walcott put them in front just after missing a penalty, actually. He still broke down the other end and scored, but right on half-time, Philippe Coutinho scored a brilliant free kick, which got Liverpool level and then set the tone for a Liverpool for the first 20 minutes of second half, demolished Arsenal, going 4-1 up, goals from Adam Lallana, another from Coutinho and Sadio Mane. Really were taking Arsenal apart. You were fearing what the score could be, but Liverpool's defence, being Liverpool's defence at this point, did let Arsenal back in the game as they pulled 2 goals back through Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Callum Chambers. The game was just thrilling stuff. The game was just a great game between two teams who definitely had their flaws defensively but were good attackingly. This game showed both the positives and the negative of both sides, but it was a really good game. Arsenal-Liverpool have had some great games over the years, and we've been blessed with 2 very good opening day games between them as well. And yeah, this was excellent, absolutely excellent drama from start to finish. Really enjoyed this one. I remember watching this on the opening day. Next up, you've got Arsenal 4, Leicester City 3. My personal favourite opening day game I've ever watched, and this was the actual opening game of the season. It was on Friday Night Football in August 2017, and what a game. What a game. Arsenal-Leicester. This game had so many twists and turns. I mean, it didn't really count for anything. Neither side went on to do anything amazing in the season, but it was Arsene Wenger's last ever home game in charge of Arsenal on opening day, which was something, but brilliant. I mean, Arsenal took the lead with Alexander Lacazette's debut inside of, I think, 2 minutes. Then Leicester equalise on 5 minutes. Leicester go 2-1 up with Vardy. Danny Welbeck equalises on half-time. Leicester go 3-2 up with Vardy when Aaron Ramsey and Olivier Giroud win it for Arsenal 4-3. What a game. What a brilliant game of football this was. Just entertainment. This was a pure... And again, it really... You made you realise the flaws with Arsenal, and it made you realise, the flaws with Leicester, who only won the league 2 years earlier. Just pure entertainment from start to finish. In my opinion, in terms of entertainment, the best opening day game we've ever seen. It was just brilliant to watch. It just didn't count for anything in the aftermath, but still, excellent game of football. It really returned with a bang. And then next up, you've got Watford 3, Liverpool 3, 2017-2018. And yeah, this was Liverpool's defence before Virgil van Dijk, and it was summed up. Both teams could not defend in this game, but it made for very entertaining. This actually followed on from the Arsenal-Leicester game. So this was absolutely just pure entertainment again, really. And you thought the Arsenal-Leicester game was easily going to be game of the weekend, and this went on to rival it. Not quite beat it, in my opinion, but rival it at least. Yeah, excellent game. I mean, Watford actually led in this game twice, and Liverpool's defending was schoolboy defending, but Mohamed Salah made his debut in this game and scored, as did Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino. Liverpool's front three, the first time they actually played together was this game. And yeah, excellent 3-3 entertainment. Liverpool went on to let in a last-minute goal as well. It was just entertainment. Liverpool couldn't defend very well at this point without Virgil van Dijk, and Watford obviously couldn't handle Liverpool's front three, so that made for a very entertaining game. Next up, you've got Chelsea 2, Burnley 3, 2017-18. The 2017-18 opening day weekend, in my opinion, was by far the best we've ever seen. And it's produced 3 or 4 absolute stunners that weekend. And I remember it was absolute... Usually seasons return with a bit of fatigue and players aren't quite fit enough maybe, but this season was absolutely not that. This Chelsea 2, Burnley 3. Chelsea came into this game as the Premier League champions. At home to Burnley, everyone thought this was going to be an easy, comfortable 3 points for Chelsea. They were absolutely wrong. In fact, Burnley were 3-0 up at half-time against 10-men Chelsea. This looked like it could have been a rout for Burnley at one point. 2 from Sam Vokes and a goal from Stephen Ward, sorry. This could have been a Burnley rout. It was getting embarrassing. Chelsea actually had 9 men at the end of this game as well. And David Luiz and Alvaro Morata did pull goals back, and Burnley hung on. But to be honest with you, Burnley should never have been in that situation. They should have beat Chelsea about 5 or 6. It was purely embarrassing for the Premier League holders, and it kind of set the tone for Chelsea's season, which was a disappointing one where they finished 5th place. But yeah, what a game. No one saw this coming. I don't think anyone would have predicted this, but what a result for Burnley, who did go on to have a very good season as well. So this really set the tone for their good season. But an opening day thriller, and probably arguably the biggest opening day shock we've seen for sure. Next, 2017-18 again, Crystal Palace 0, Huddersfield Town 3. Now, I'm not putting this in for the classic reason. This was Palace under the forgettable run of Frank de Boer, where he lasted 4 Premier League games. But seeing Huddersfield Town win a Premier League game, especially for a fan who never thought they would have saw Huddersfield in the Premier League, was quite great. And seeing them win it 3-0 away reminded me a lot of Blackpool's 4-0 win away at Wigan in 2010-2011. Huddersfield Town just played absolutely excellent in this game. And Palace, of course, were poor. But yeah, this was just great to watch. It was brilliant. it was just entertaining. It was just entertaining. Great to see Huddersfield get the win as well. Yeah, 3-0 deserved for Huddersfield, and you know, it was just good to see them win a Premier League game, and to happen on the opening day so convincingly was also great to see as well. So yep, that's all 20 of my great opening day games from the Premier League. Please like, share and subscribe, and please let me know in the comments if you can think of any great Premier League games you've seen as well. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. I'll be back with more football content soon. Thank you and see ya.